last topic of today's show, Kayla, we got some Last of Us news, so we got to talk about it.
Woo!
Self-proclaimed one of the biggest Last of Us fans, and then you also, I can say, one of the biggest Last of Us fans I know. So it is kismet that this story came out a few days ago that we get to talk about it. Again, pulling from VGC, this time Tom Ivan. Last of Us showrunner Craig Maizin has suggested that the popular HBO series could run for 4 seasons. In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Maizin was asked if HBO had provided a good budget bump for season 2, given the show's success and scope. Quote, "There's always a budget bump, and then there's a discussion about why it's not enough of a budget bump," he replied. Quote, "For as long as I've been doing this, I have never, ever, not once been in a situation where I was like, what I need is this. And they're like, okay, it eventually gets to," and then he says he put his hand somewhere. I don't know exactly where the level was, so I'm not concerned about that. He goes on to say, "Even if we have a principled debate about what is required to execute a second season, a third season, a fourth season, what I always know is that they are always working in good faith and appreciate the creative value of the show." The interviewer later followed up on this, asking Maizin if the vision of the show he and Naughty Dog president Neil Druckmann laid out of HBO was for 4 seasons. He responded, quote, "I was aware that I mentioned that. You never know. It could end up being 3 or 5, but 4 seems like a good number. Some seasons, because of the story we're telling," I know, right? "Some seasons, because of the story we're telling, will need fewer episodes, and some will need more," end quote. Maizin reiterated this in the Hollywood Reporter interview, during which he was also asked if the role of Abby from the second game had already been cast. Quote, "Maybe," he said. "The strike stopped us in our tracks. Things were in process. Look, Abby was the first role that we wanted to tackle. We've got a pretty good track record of making major cast announcements and people going, really? Which will probably continue. So people may disagree, but I think we got it right so far, and the audience seems to feel we got it right, and the Academy seems to feel we got it right too." I think suggesting because they got like 95 Emmy nominations. But so there's 2 things to unpack here, Kayla. There's him saying that it's probably going to be 4 seasons as long as, the show continues to be good, and that they might have already cast Abby. So let's talk about the first one. 4 seasons. We've already covered the entire first game in 1 season. So that would leave, in theory, 3 seasons to only either cover game 2 or cover game 2 and then some. What do you think makes the most sense? Because they've already said in the, before this article months ago, he was like, I think that season 2 would take more than 1 season. I never envisioned that as 3, though. I'm like, what do you think?
Yeah.
Like, do you think this is just a really long part 2? Or do we think we might go into Last of Us Part 3 territory in the show?
I don't know. It's a great question. Because we also had a spinoff podcast where we covered like you guys had a similar situation. Like you guys covered each episode on the Last of Us or Spotlight
name
TV,
drop it.
right?
Yeah, come on, name drop yours. Plug it.
Clickbait. So we also had an episode like speculating on what the next season could look like. What I hope doesn't happen is I hope that they don't because I don't know how, we don't necessarily want to get into like big spoiler territory, but the way the second game is told could be told from 2 different, scenarios, 2 different perspectives. And I hope that they don't make one perspective. I don't think they would do that. Like make one perspective one season, another
I don't think they
maybe
would.
half.
I don't think that would make
one.
for good TV.
I don't think so. So I'm not really sure. I mean, there's enough content where they could make the second game 2 seasons easily. I feel like
I think, yeah.
Maybe they do that, and so that's like 3. Maybe they are looking forward into the future of, does the third game come out and they make one of those seasons already about that game potentially?
Yeah.
I don't know how.
That's what's so interesting to me, because if we think about, I would love that. But if we think about, excuse me, if we think about length so far, first game, 10 to 15 hours, maybe a little less than that, 9 episodes of television. Next game, we're talking like 20 to 30 to 40 hours, depending on how long you take. And they say, probably 2 seasons, but maybe a third here. But what I'm getting at is, let's say it's 2 seasons for part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Are you telling me that a third game would be short enough for 1 season? I just don't buy
Right.
that.
That's kind of what I was thinking too, is like, surely not. I
Like,
mean,
I
I
would be shocked if, and not that I don't think this would be the wrong thing per se. Like, I don't think this, I trust implicitly in Naughty Dog and the story that they want to tell with this franchise, but I would just be so shocked for them to go from The Last of Us Part 2's scope and size and go smaller than that. Maybe they do.
right. Yeah.
Maybe they want to go back
Mhm.
to a more like intimate first game feel, and not have such big like open world segments like the second game had. Again, don't think that that's a bad idea.
Mhm.
It seems like the trend of video games is always how do we make it bigger and better? And
Right.
so I
Yeah.
think the natural conclusion is the third game will be even bigger than 2. And so for it to only potentially be 1 season. I mean, he did say maybe it's 5, so like it could end up being 2 seasons. But I don't know. I wonder if maybe this is just 3 seasons of part 2, but I don't know that there's that much story in part 2
It
for
might be
3
a little
whole
bit of
seasons.
overkill. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that. I am personally one that I will take whatever you give me. I
Right,
am a
same.
fiend for this universe. So if you want to give me like a whole fanfic like season that's like totally rogue, I mean, I what if that is where they go, like what if
Sure.
they I don't know that I would necessarily want them to, let's say they decide to make the last season kind of like they finish the story via the TV show. I highly doubt they would do that and
I
not
doubt
like
they would
follow
do
it up
that.
with because like there's such a huge like cult following for the game, and I doubt they would just like create the ending and like finish that out where they are. Because from what I understand, like I mean, they've confirmed that they are working on a continuation of the story for part
They've not
three
like
now.
confirmed it, but like it's happening.
Alluded to.
Yeah, they've
Alluded
alluded.
to.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But we also know that they're working on a separate game
Yeah.
as well. So like
That'll
maybe
be
does
season
that
4.
yeah, maybe this I mean, does it like I don't know, probably not, but
Here's a thought
like
though.
some sort of crossover,
It could
Who
be
knows?
a spinoff of some kind.
Yeah,
There is, so one of the quotes that I read, because of the story we're telling, some seasons will need fewer episodes, some will need more. So maybe season 4 is like 15 episodes. Like maybe that's how. Maybe if season 4 is part 3, maybe season 4 is just a longer season of television to tell the entire story,
yeah.
perhaps. Um,
Or or maybe because that seems very intentional that that quote would be in there. You know what I mean?
It
That's a
is.
very
And
like
yeah, I mean,
specific.
someone like Craig Maizin is going to be so intentional about I mean, he even says in the interview when he says 4 and then the interviewer, smartly follows up on that. He's like, I'm aware I said 4. Like I said 4 for a reason. Like he put that up for
Yeah,
them to like they know exactly what they're saying and when they're saying it and
for
why they're saying
sure.
it. So
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm interested. But so part 2 of this is the Abby portion that
Yeah.
maybe that Abby has been cast. Not going to be anything we hear about until the strike is over, I bet.
For sure.
I don't know all of the detail, like all of the terms of the strike, but I'm willing to bet Warner Brothers, who is one of the main companies being struck against, if
Being
that's how you
struck.
would say that, is owned, like is the one making this show. So like, I doubt they're going to be announcing anything while the strike is happening. But yeah, do you have any thoughts or guesses on who this might be?
Yeah, I know that the rumor for a long time that I think they shut down. I don't know 100%. I may have read that wrong. A lot of people were saying there's an actress named Shannon Barry. I don't know if you saw that, but she
Is
was
she the
like a
Cobra Kai
rumor for
one?
a long time. Yes.
Shannon, what was the
Um,
last name again?
Shannon Barry.
Barry.
Is she the Cobra Kai one? Maybe I'm
I don't
wrong.
know. I know one
Uh,
of them was a Cobra Kai person.
she definitely fits the I apologize again for
No,
my dog.
you're good. You're all
We're just
good.
gonna work through it.
Yeah.
She definitely looks the part, and I think she could really achieve like the look that they're going for with Abby, or I assume they're going for similar to the game. But we also know that like that's not necessarily from the casting choices they've made, which I feel were amazing. Like I think they have done a fantastic job casting this show so far. They're not necessarily just looking for aesthetics. Like you could objectively say, like Bella Ramsey doesn't necessarily look like. I mean, she
Right.
does in a way, but like it's more of the acting capabilities, the presence, the energy, like all that kind of stuff. So I haven't seen Shannon Barry in anything in particular, but she seems like she could give off that kind of energy. One thing that this might just be fun to mention, we were talking about before the show, doesn't necessarily fit the age bracket that we would be going for, but Rebecca Ferguson, who
Yeah.
is the main actress in Silo, I think
Mm-hmm.
that she could do a fantastic job. It really, I don't think is like realistic, unfortunately,
Sure.
because of the age bracket, but and
We
no
can
no
dream.
ageism here. That's not, that's I
But
support it if they choose it.
for
But
a character who's supposed to be, I don't remember Abby's exact age, but like
early 20s, I think.
yeah, like a contemporary of Ellie. So Rebecca Ferguson, 39 years old. I think maybe a
Yeah.
little too
But
old.
like, you know, yeah, she looks
But
like,
I think she'd be
has
great. I mean, we know she has the chops to do action shit from Mission Impossible, the most recent Mission
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Impossible
yeah,
movies.
yeah.
Like
Oh, wait, yeah.
she could kick some ass for sure.
Yeah.
It's a shame that the show didn't happen 20 years ago, for her sake.
No, I'm pulling a blank. Like we did like a whole casting episode, and I can't remember everybody that I had on there. One was the actress that plays one of the villains in the Mandalorian most recent Star Wars show. Was that the Mandalorian?
Uh,
Uh
I think Mandalorian was the most recent show. I mean, Ahsoka's about to come out, but
yeah, for sure. I can't
I
remember
don't
her name
know. I'm not
exactly. So
sure who that
I'll
would be, but
I'll get
I had
back to
said on
you.
the show, yeah, think about it. And if you don't find it today, that's fine. The one I had said on the podcast a couple weeks ago. So if you listen every week, this will be something you've already heard me say. But Hunter Schafer from Euphoria, she
Ooh.
was Zendaya, friend of the show, Zendaya, said, or she posted on her Instagram, video of her and Hunter Schafer playing The Last of Us Part 2, saying that they were playing their favorite game. And I was like, big brain
Ooh.
energy. I think Hunter Schafer is going to be Abby, because I think Hunter Schafer would be a great fit for Abby.
She fits. She
I think she fit.
fits.
I think it'd be a great choice. We'll see though. But that's all I got. There has been Shannon Barry, not the Cobra Kai person, but there have been a lot of people. I guess there's some girl in Cobra Kai that's like built that people have said would be a great Abby, because Abby's supposed to be strong.
Mhm.
So respect to her, I guess.
She
I don't
got
know
the
who
big
it is though.
arms.
Yeah, I didn't watch the show,
So
so
cold.
but yeah, let us know what you think. Because I'm at this point, we're not gonna get this show for at the very, very least 2 more years, more likely 3 years, because of the strike. Because it's
Yeah.
gonna take long to make, and so this is gonna be a long news cycle of talking about who is gonna maybe be in the show, and these little
I'm here for
nuggets of
it.
news that we're gonna get. I'm here for it every day of the week. I'll talk about The
Yep.
Last of Us and the
I
show any chance I can get.
I'm ready for some, give me any little nuggets. This
Yeah.
is a nugget. I'm eating it up. I'm ready. Let's
Yeah,
go.
get me a
4
nugget
seasons?
tray
Perfect.
of anything Last of Us, please.
Eat it up.
Quick last topic, a little epilogue, we might call it, for this episode. Do you have 5-10 more minutes, Kayla?
Of course. Yes. I
So we
am
had talked
here as long
about,
as you'll have me.
hell yeah, we had talked about before going live, talking about this fall for you. It's something that Cayman and I have been talking about a ton, all the games. We've even talked about it a couple times in this episode, just mentioning how many games are coming out. I'm curious to hear, what are you most excited for? Is it Starfield, or are there other games that are coming out this fall? Like, what's your number one most anticipated game that you absolutely will be playing the rest of this year?
That's tough. Great question. There's a lot. I would say for pure like appeal, as far as like something that is different than what I usually play and like seems really intriguing, is Starfield for sure.
Mhm.
But also Spider-Man 2. I'm a
Yeah.
big Spider-Man fan, so that's also like something that's really I've been really excited for since I saw like the first like
Yeah.
even teaser of it.
Looks so good.
So that it looks great. I'm really excited. I've decided I've gone on a strike from not watching anything else about
That's a good
it
idea. They're
since
gonna tell us too much.
I I've even the last thing I forget what was shown last. It was like a 10-minute gameplay, I
It was a
believe.
lot.
I didn't watch it all. I was like,
Good.
okay, I've
Don't.
seen what I need to see.
Yep.
I don't want I just let me play it. Just let me play it. Um I another one I wanted to throw in there besides like, big headline AAA
Mhm.
like games. Um have you seen, and this is soon, this is fairly soon, this is coming out. How do you feel, and have you seen the game Fae Farm? Have you seen
I
Fae
had a
Farm?
feeling something just came out from deep within my memory of you being excited about Fae Farm. I was like, I think she's about to talk about Fae Farm. I know Fae Farm exists, but I don't
Yeah.
remember much about it. Is it a Switch game? Is this correct, or is it more than Switch?
It is. I believe it's going to be on more than just Switch, but I intend to play it on Switch. Like I talked about before, it's very much like a
Your
sim
cozy farm
style, like
sim.
farming, cozy vibes, but there is like a storyline that you follow as well. I'm trying to see
Cool.
if it's on Steam. I actually don't know. I think it is. But I intend to play it on Switch just because
It is
it's,
going to be on
it's
Steam.
just the cozy vibes. It's the cozy
Uh,
vibes.
PC and Switch are the two, and this comes out
Okay.
September 8th, 2 days after Starfield.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that's
you're
gonna be a
really going to
tough
have a
one
big
for me.
choice on your hands.
Yeah. The two very different polar opposite.
Yeah,
This is like
according to
cutesy, like
right. According to Google, the kind of the one sentence pitch is escape to the world of Fate Farm and create your own cozy home in the enchanted world of Azoria. Kayla's,
give
you're
it
going to
to
be learning
me.
all about Azoria this fall.
Give it to me. Yeah, I realized I came into this night honestly just purely vibes is what
Yeah.
I'm looking for with this game. It does look really cute, and like the gameplay looks fun. They showed off on the last, I think last showcase, last PlayStation showcase, I think they
Mhm.
showed some. Um
I think it was the
but
last
yeah, so
Nintendo
it looks
Direct.
Nintendo Direct, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
It's not even
Yeah.
on PlayStation. I saw it and I immediately was super intrigued, and like it's definitely right up my alley. I think it'll be a nice breakup between like playing Starfield, and then I might,
Yeah.
zip on over to my Nintendo to play some of this. But I'm excited for this, and I plan on playing a lot of the games that are coming out, like Spider-Man 2. I'm gonna have to pick
Yeah.
that up immediately upon
Yeah.
play because I really don't want to get spoiled on that story.
Yeah.
So those are probably the three biggest ones coming up. I'm excited for.
Hell yeah. Yeah. It's interesting when I look at it on Google, the genres, apparently it's also a role-playing game and an action game. So I guess there's some like
Mhm.
dungeony stuff to it, perhaps.
Yes. From what you can tell, so basically during the daytime, you are like the farmer cozy vibes, and then at
Got it.
night, you are fighting like creatures, kind of
Yeah.
similar, like think Cult of the Lamb style,
Sure.
not quite as dungeony from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Um, which speaking of, that got like a big announcement, like they're collaborating with Don't Starve together,
Oh, cool. I
and
missed
having,
that.
uh, yeah, there's like some DLC coming to Cult of the Lamb. So
Cool.
I know me and you played that as well.
I love Cult of the Lamb. It ran like absolute dog shit for me.
Yeah, me
So I
too.
need to go back and play it again because there's also a lot of new content now. A lot of new
Mhm.
content now.
Oh,
Cognitive clips.
um,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I just thought I have ADHD like super bad.
You're
Um,
good. You're good.
uh, Sea of Stars as well. That's another one.
That game looks really good. That comes
Yeah,
out
that's another
really
one.
soon. That's like in a few days, I think, if not
The
already out.
29th.
Let's see, 29th. So yeah, my wife's
Yes.
birthday. A week
Aw.
from today. Uh-oh. Only a week to get my wife something for her birthday. Um, come back next week in the chat if we have the show, if I don't move it to Wednesday, so I can be a good husband to wish Rose a
Wow.
happy birthday. Um,
Aw.
Cognitive clips in the chat. I got like a hair on my. There we go. Remember when Nintendo had a direct with like 12 cozy farm sins? I sure
Yes.
do. Uh,
Perfect.
I wasn't mad at
Sign
it.
me up.
I wasn't mad at it.
I'm down.
folks, that's our show.
Give me all that.
I skipped the calendar update of this week because most of it was kind of within the Gamescom announcements. We kind of just sprinkled it in through the show. But tomorrow, as of release of the episode, Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon's out. If you're interested in fighting people with big old mechs. And Immortals of Avium also out. One of these, action RPG shootery games. Getting mixed reviews, but if that's something you're interested in, that's out now. Kayla, what a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming by.
Oh, thank you.
Where can people find you and all the things you do on the internet?
That is a great question. Let me get back in my podcast brain. So you can find our podcast. It's JK Games Podcast on all platforms. We've got Instagram, we've got X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. But we go live on Twitch every other Monday. And we also post our videos on YouTube as well. And then me personally, you can find my Instagram, Twitter, etc. Just Kayla G Cost. You can find me there. I also talk about books. If you are interested in that, you can follow me.
There you go. We cover it all, from books to games,
media.
Exactly. Spot Games Pod on Twitter for us. I'm not calling it X. I simply refuse. Spotlight Games Pod everywhere else, including Threads. Although I think Threads is dying for me. I don't think I'm in anymore. I wanted to be, but I mean, if Twitter dies, Threads will be the way I talk about this show
for sure,
other than Instagram. And then YouTube at Spotlight Games Pod as well. New episode every Thursday, or we go live here on Twitch every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be back next week. Stay tuned for what day next week, but we'll be here at some point. Kayla, thank you again. Until we meet again, goodbye.